Hi. Y'all, I laugh when I get nervous. How is everybody? I'm nervous because my girls are a little behind, but it's okay. Um, we're gonna wait for them though before we really get into any topics. But how is everybody? How was your weekend? I can't wait to chat with you guys. Whoever comes in, just know that, feel free to just watch if you just want to watch. If you want to ask questions, feel free to add questions to the chat. That's what we're here for. Um, so, here at this Sunday morning live, we like to talk about a variety of things. Lately, we've been talking about relationships and how they affect, you know, um, I guess the way our genius minds work. Because that's what this is about, genius induction. It's all about genius induction and inducing the genius from inside of you. So um we want to pull out everything that's in that heart space, things that tend to keep you kind of limited with other people, but learning how to be more open. We want you to learn how to be more open and more transparent first with yourself. So, that's the kind of thing that we've been talking about. And we always have like our own little personal experiences that help us to kind of like, um, grab the attention of others so that they can see how our personal experiences can maybe better their lives or their interactions with other people. So that's just a summary of what things have been like. And it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to talk about, your happenings, the goings on lately. I've been talking a lot about mine on TikTok. My relationships are hilarious to me. They entertain me. And that's another thing that I'll probably touch on is, when people know what they want, then they can start to intentionally plan or even intentionally what I call, manifest. A lot of us understand manifesting. Um, when you don't know what you want, sometimes it feels like a shark playing in water, just, putting their mouth on, that how they say sharks are like babies, they toy with things. And sometimes I just play around and toy around because, I'm coming off of a 25-year marriage. So I'm just like, 25 years, y'all. That's a long time. I got married at age 22. So yeah, I'm finding me again and I'm loving it. I'm loving life. Loving life. But let's see, what can I talk about? I don't want to get into topics before they arrive, but I want to make sure that I give you guys some information that'll be helpful for you. Um, when you're going about your everyday life, sometimes the routine can start to make you ask, oh, is this what it's going to be like every day for the rest of my life? Is there something better? Why am I here? Do I have a purpose? All that kind of stuff. I talk to a lot of people about that kind of thing. And I also help them with like ways to go within and get answers to those questions so they can feel a little bit more fulfilled on a daily basis. And I would say the number one thing that I, you know, give these people that I talk to is the advice to meditate. Meditate, meditate on a daily basis. Meditate when you wake up. Meditation is just quieting your mind or being in a prayerful state. Oh, there's Kay. Let me let her in.
Hi, good morning.
Hi.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good. Good.
It's so good to see you.
I woke up early. I haven't looked in the mirror really, so here's my mirror.
It's okay. You look beautiful as always.
I woke up at 6:45. Started to do my energy work, and I
Yeah.
started into my clear and setting the container, as you will,
Mm-hmm.
and my voice inside me said 7:20, and I was like, and I checked my phone, and it was 7:28.
Oh.
Good.
That's okay. That's
Sorry, I
okay.
didn't mean to interrupt you. What were you saying about prayer?
No, I was just telling people, like what they can do when they wake up, and that's exactly what you just explained.
That's fine.
I was telling them meditation. I said, but
Oh, you froze. You're frozen. Oh. You're frozen for me. Okay, well, I'll do my hair then. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Oh, am I the only one here? Okay, well, if I'm the only one here, let's continue what July was talking about. I'm gonna put my antenna on. So, hopefully she can get back in since she's the host. When I wake up in the morning, let's talk about what I used to do and what I do now. So used to would be like pretty much my whole life. I would think about everything that I had to get done. I would think about everything that I was thinking about right before I fell asleep. I would think. Hello. I said, okay, well, let's just talk about what we used to do and what we do
yeah,
now, and I'll get my hair ready for this.
yes, I'm glad you did. Thank you. Keep going.
Yeah. So I was talking about what I used to do in my morning routine when I woke up,
Yeah.
and I haven't talked about what I do now, but I'll finish. What I used to do was, I said, let me put my antenna up. Okay. So, what I used to do was think and restart from where I left off the night before.
Okay.
And now I do something totally different,
Oh.
which is like energy, all energy. I see myself as an energy individual. So, totally
Mm-hmm.
different. I don't
Yeah.
ruminate like a goat anymore, like goats go.
Yeah.
I don't ruminate on thoughts anymore like that. I just
Yeah.
go into, okay, fresh start. And then I start with my energy, and then I go from here out to the universe. Oh, I hit a little snowman. There's a snowman.
Okay.
Yeah, what do you do?
So basically, I just kind of like lately it's been that energy ball, but just overall it is grounding and also connecting cosmically. Like everything that I do in my guided meditations. So like I'll ground myself to the core of the earth by like, and this is what I learned from Jeffrey Allen,
Mm-hmm.
sinking my spine, like imagining my spine sinking down to the core of the earth. And that's how I attach myself, by grounding. And then I also just imagine like, oh gosh, it feels good saying it right now. Wow. The solar light coming down into my crown chakra.
Mm.
Those two energies meeting. And that's how that's what I do when I need to like gather myself and I want to feel centered and balanced.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I just
So,
made my head feel all, like
yeah, like,
it feels
oh,
good.
I'm solid.
Yeah.
AJ told us before that she doesn't like to ground. Oh, she's
Yeah.
here. No, is she here? No, not yet.
I don't see her
Yeah,
yet.
she said she doesn't like to ground, and we've had people tell us
Oh,
before they don't like to ground, but I'm like you.
yeah.
I totally grounding is. I'll do it. When
I
I'm
think
making a
that was
choice about
me
food.
who said that. Was that did AJ say it too? I think I told you
AJ
guys
said
I
it
don't
too.
like to be grounded. Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, and AJ
I
too
didn't know
said,
that.
or let's say she grounds inside, not outside of
Yeah.
herself. I think that's what it is. Grounds
Oh, I
outside
get
of
it.
her.
I remember her saying
We
something like that.
will ground outside of ourselves, and she might go within. Or
Yeah.
during healings, I've grounded people to planets that are not
Yes.
ones I've seen before. Or um,
I love that.
sometimes I remember this book.
She
You
is.
said
There
Jeffrey
she is.
Allen, and I was going to ask you his name today. So thank you for that. Thank you.
Sure, yes.
And because you were
Hey,
talking about,
AJ.
yay.
Morning. Thank you for waiting.
Sure, no problem. How are you this morning?
Oh, I'm wonderful. I saw that Kay was in the middle of the story.
Good morning. Oh, that's when I popped on. July was in the middle of a
Yeah,
story.
go ahead. Finish your
So I was just saying I was hoping she was going to say that man's name, and she said it, Jeffrey Allen,
yeah.
today. I'm going to
Yeah.
ask her who he is, and so she answered that for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's so funny. I was just thinking about him. I had a revelation, but we'll talk about it when we start getting into our topics. So, AJ, how are you? You had a busy day,
Yeah.
and now you're up early. You had a busy night last night.
Busy week. It has
Oh,
been. We got our necklaces on Tuesday, ladies. That was
I
like,
forgot to put on the necklace. Let me put
that's
That
on
was a
okay.
long time ago.
It was a long
Thank
time
you,
ago.
Believe Strong. She said blessings, ladies. She said blessings to you.
Oh, thank
Blessings.
you. Is
Who
someone
said
on?
blessings?
Oh,
Eat
we
to
got a
Live
comment.
Strong. She's
Aw.
a YouTuber. I was just
Hello.
speaking to her yesterday about some things on the phone.
Blessings.
Thanks for joining us.
I went back to get my necklace where I hung it, and it wasn't where I hung it. So that's an interesting twist.
Oh,
Huh.
really? Where did
Yeah,
it go?
sometimes when you have a daughter, that happens.
Yep.
So
Okay.
I brought a turtle to
Oh,
signify the connection. But yes, I will find out where my necklace went. It's beautiful.
It went where it
I'm in
needs to
love with
go.
these. I'm
Right
in
now,
love
it
with
is
these.
exactly where it needs to be. Yeah.
Thank you, AJ, for these gifts. I can't thank you enough.
You're welcome.
Oh,
Should we give a shout out? So this is a
Yes.
yeah.
metaphysical bookstore and gift shop in San Diego called Tree of Life.
Yeah.
And maybe we can post the link afterwards in the video comments. It's you can shop online, and she does this beautiful thing where you can purchase a mystery package, and she's got 3 different price points, and
Mhm.
she'll ship them to your house, and she just fills it with goodies. And so I was the conduit, but the message came to me to do that for the 3 of us.
Yeah.
And I expected it. My brain thought it would be very different things for each of us, and it was very cohesive.
Yeah. It's
Very cool.
beautiful. All the stuff that she put in there was done with care, guys. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I love how she added like the little accents to
Mm-hmm.
the thing.
Yeah.
So,
The
yeah.
little surprises at the bottom of the box. And I love the oil, the blessings.
Yeah.
Well, everyone's is different, but I've put some of this in a water atomizer, and then I've sprayed it around. So
Huh.
it smells so good. I love it. Love it.
I
Thank you.
did July mentioned how she does the oh,
Oh
that's
yeah.
good.
Yeah.
There you go. Oh,
Okay.
Tree of Life
Yeah.
store. Yeah.
Yep.
Very cool place.
I'll
Yeah.
have to
So you
type
can
it
get these
in.
online.
Yeah. Yeah, you can make the purchase online. You can shop other things through their store online as well, but it's a more comprehensive thing if you're able to make it into the studio.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Am I loud?
No.
Hey,
Mm.
Exodus Art. Do you know I almost had on the shirt? I bought a t-shirt from this guy. His art is amazing, you guys.
Oh yeah.
He draws sacred geometry.
Oh, I love
Oh, I
sacred
want another
geometry.
link.
Yeah, I'll put a link so you guys could check him out because he draws.
Oh, cool.
Oh,
How cool.
You're getting that confirmation.
look
Oh,
at
you
that.
are, yeah.
See? All right. Exodus Art. And I just had on his
Yeah.
t-shirt and then I changed. I switched. I was like, I think I'm going to wear this t-shirt. But I should put back on the shirt since he's on here.
You should.
I
I
was
think you
trying to
just
get my
got that
oil, but
message.
yeah, That's too noisy. I was trying to get dig my oil out of there so I can smell it while we're on here.
You know what's interesting is that July, I did your recommendation of putting it on the corner of the
Pillow.
sheets. I don't do the
Yeah.
pillow, I did it at the corner
Okay.
of the sheets.
Okay.
And I've noticed over a couple of days that like my sensitivity to the nuances in the scent has like what used to be one smell is now like, oh, like I'll go to
smell
sleep
all
and
of
like, oh, I smell something else in there.
I love
Mhm.
that. You can start to notice each fragrance that's in the blend.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's how it is with
Beautiful.
the oils that I use. See, now
It's
I'm
beautiful. I love it.
I'm
So what are you ladies doing with your crystal that you got?
it's with my other crystals.
Okay.
And
Do you have a lot of crystals?
not a lot. I have 2 over
Oh.
there.
That's way lower than I thought it would be.
Yeah, there's only 2 over there. And
Yeah.
then I have other crystals, but those are the ones that I keep like in my presence at all times.
Oh, okay.
And
How about
I've
you,
been
July?
holding
Are
it too. Have
you
you guys
have?
been
I
have
have
you,
too. I just grabbed mine.
yeah. Let me
Yeah.
get mine. I'm gonna grab
How
mine.
about you, AJ?
I have not been holding it. I created a really I don't want to say what's the word? Specific is the word that's coming up. A very specific playground altar right next to the bed, and that's where that is. And so I'm very mindful. Usually that would be the bedside table where think clutter arrives. And so but it has been a practice of let it be how it is.
Mhm.
Nothing else goes here.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool. Okay.
So I haven't really picked it up since we got them. What do
Okay.
you carry it in your bag? I saw you lift it out of your bag.
I did. I put it so my backpack, this is basically my purse. So my backpack, I put it in the side pocket and then I just grabbed it out of the side pocket and it's quite substantial. So I don't have a lot of crystals, but I do have like that little garnet rock I showed you, the sandstone. I love rocks, love geology. So yeah, I tucked it in my little pocket and carried it with me Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then Saturday it was in there, and so Sunday it's right here in my hands.
And so how does it feel for you when you have it with you?
Immediately a grounding and just this like when we say sacred geometry, we always think of art. I always think of, well, not always, I can't speak for others. Oh, yay, there it is.
Wait, go back. Is it an ocean?
No, it's a
Oh,
ladies,
cool.
look at her eyes.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
beautiful. That's beautiful. Now, who's that from?
Exodus Art.
Gotta
Who's
check
in
them
the
out.
chat?
Sweet. Hi,
Let me
Exodus
see.
Art. Cool shirt.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm gonna check that out.
here's my crystal.
And so those are, I don't even remember what they are. They're calcite. What are they?
Yeah.
Calcite?
Yep.
So I feel like sacred geometry comes from me and through this rock when I hold it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I can see it.
You can see it.
When I close
I
my eyes, I
felt
can see it.
mine. Yeah. What do you see? The color or rays or?
Like lines, kind of like what I saw when I had that fuzzy thing in my left eye the other day. Lines that connect and they
Yeah.
go in so not like sacred geometry like you'd see the flower of life, but like an octagon shape that's kind of soft on the edges and then these lines that are inside. Like woven lines inside? Yeah.
You know, you saying soft on the edges reminds me of an interesting, I don't remember where I heard it, but have you ladies heard of this concept that like edges and angles are a human construct?
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
So that makes sense to me that you would see it like soft edges because the angularity and the rigidity and right angles, that's a human experience. Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense because I was just listening to something the other day and it said that the other thing that is made up by humans is evil and something else. 2 things.
Good?
And it was
Would it
just
be
like,
good?
huh?
Would it be good?
No, it wasn't good because good comes from, they were saying, that good comes from God or the universe or whatever. But like it was when humans are not in alignment fully, then they start to, create that. I can't remember the two things. It was two things specifically. Yeah.
Humans are so creative.
Well, because like some people that I know, Kay being one of them, who's like very, very, very in the divine feminine.
Yeah.
And another person that I know exemplifies this to a stronger degree. Could be judged as being like in the clouds or non-linear in conversations, bouncing from topic to topic, flighty. These are all judgments that I know I used to apply to people who show up in this way, when really like you're in the moment by moment. And if the conversation in this moment inspires these words, and then 4 seconds later, the conversation in this moment inspires these words, you have like this fantastic ability to just release the thread of the conversation is going to start here and end there. It's so cool.
Yeah. The moment is where it's at.
The moment.
Yeah.
That's all we have.
Yeah, the past and the future is really illusionary, right?
Look, we're all leaning like the same direction.
Yeah.
And my mama says that you only have the present, and it's a present, and that's why they call it the present.
Because it's a present.
Yeah. I'm going to close a door that's right over here.
Right.
Little things make me so excited. I don't even need a gift. Just the word present is enough to make me.
Yeah, you're like giggly.
I love it. That's why I used to always crack up at that movie Splash with Tom Hanks and Daryl Hannah, because when he got her that gift, she was excited over the box. She didn't know to open it. And I was like, that is so me.
Yeah.
Oh man.
That's cool.
But so ladies, I was thinking, I noticed that people are really loving our videos. We're getting a lot of feedback on our clips. Yeah. They enjoy the topics. And I think that mostly too, because we had started talking a little bit about like our relationships with people, or even the way we interact with them. And it's not necessarily like a romantic relationship. It's just how we act, when we are around others, and being very transparent about about what's going on in our minds when we are, right, AJ?
That's my MO. As soon as you say transparent, it's like bing.
Yeah.
I have a t-shirt on that says Bare Naked Ladies. So it's a band. So that's like, it reminds me of us.
Is that a group?
It's like, yes, it is.
Okay.
They sing really good songs.
It's like a little bit of a rainbow on Kay's ceiling. I kind of see. I don't know, from the way that my color quality.
Yeah, it is.
Like that shadow is a little bit of a rainbow.
Yeah.
I don't
Well,
see
when you
it.
turn, you ruin it.
Yeah,
Sorry,
it's like,
no turning.
Yeah, and your aura is moving with it too.
Yay.
You don't ruin it, Kay. That was very harsh. That was a judgment. There it is.
That's okay.
Yeah.
I'm good. That's good.
So, I've been having all these crazy things happen this week. It has been so funny. So, I kind of want to share it, but I thought I would have like more privacy.
So maybe
sees it too. Eat to live strong,
take
the rainbow.
Yeah, it's there.
Take a moment and see if you want to share it with us.
Yeah.
See if it feels right and what aspects to share.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So last night I mentioned to you ladies, I think it would be nice to talk about things that are happening in 3D, but also to what may simultaneously be going on in 5D. It's almost like when you have a plant and you see the growth of the plant above ground, but then beneath the surface, there's all that stuff going on. The plant couldn't even be here or grow or be vibrant or any of that if it weren't for watering the roots, and the roots taking, just like anchoring themselves and growing downward. So that's kind of what I think would be nice to address with people is what tends to go on the other side of things when you're interacting with one another. So like, let's take marriage for example. Oh, go ahead, Kay.
No, I'm just breathing, like
Oh.
asking myself, are you sure you want to share?
Oh, you or me?
Just me. No.
Oh,
Yeah, not
you?
you. Not you. No, I
Oh,
want to hear it. But
really?
it came over me that, oh,
Yeah.
that's a very private world you're asking about there. But yeah.
Oh, yeah. It is a little bit. But I think that like, yeah, I won't get like too private or anything. And I think that maybe what I share may prompt you a little bit or make you feel a little bit more at ease about what you may want to share, if that makes sense. Okay.
Totally.
So, yeah, okay. All right. No, it's just that I noticed that and we touched on this before, like when you want to manifest a certain behavior in a relationship, but you have to make sure that you're in accordance with that. And I noticed that when that happens, and everything goes according to plan and it smooths out, there are things that happen also too, apparently, with the celestial world that is supportive of all of this. And I guess the point I'm making is here's where I notice the action switching up a little bit. If someone tends to deviate from what was meant to be, which we know what's meant to be is always proper and good, right? Just like we talked about good coming from above and then evil being created. When we create that, we're creating karma and all kinds of stuff, which is even more of a topic we can touch on. But I noticed that when we deviate, things start to happen. We get nudged in certain ways. And it's not always good, but I noticed that when I do see it, I tend to get like it makes me laugh with my guys. Whether it's, me being the culprit or the other person, it doesn't even matter. Like it's funny to me. Like, get yourself back in line, you know what I mean?
Oh, I love that you take that to humor because this happened to me like last night. I go immediately into like so much self-judgment, which
Yeah.
is what most of us do.
Mhm.
I don't expect perfection of others so much. I mean,
Yeah.
I can see where they're at, and sometimes I'm annoyed that they're not there.
Yeah.
It's not expecting perfection. I'm just like, you could be this much happier. But but with
Information.
my so many different colors.
Right.
But with myself, it's I was journaling on this morning. It was like being grateful that those nudges are there.
Yeah.
It's so funny, all of the details of the journaling have left my mind, so that is not to be shared.
Okay.
Um, and
Love that.
because I have a tendency, you ladies know that I mean, one of the reasons that I feel like I can articulate so well about my thought processes is that I spent like 20 years ruminating on myself.
Mm.
And, like that, I mean, I didn't set out to do that, but that was my go-to. Was I would have an interaction with someone and then I would be not only judging, because it wasn't that was judging implies to me that it's like that was bad. It was
Mhm.
more than that. It was like this dissection of how did I show up? How could I have shown up differently?
Mhm.
Always very harshly, not granting myself any grace.
Mhm.
Um,
What
and
word did you use first, though?
when
You used a word.
Dissecting.
No, right before that, when you first
oh,
described it.
I'm so present that all that is out of my mind. What did I say?
You
Uh,
ruminating.
Oh, ruminate,
oh
right.
yeah.
Which is the cows, like, chewing and digesting on their
Mhm.
stuff. Yeah.
I acted that out like a goat a while before you came.
Did
Oh,
you really? On this call?
Yeah, can you guys do it?
I want to see you do it. What does that mean?
By myself?
Oh
Here,
yeah,
I'll show
she
you how,
did.
and then you
She
do
sure
it.
did.
And you
Hi,
go ruminate.
Tony.
Oh,
Yeah, she sure did.
Yeah,
And
you
so that
ruminate.
that's my
Right?
goatee.
You chew your cud. Yeah,
chewing
totally.
the
Okay, sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
That was the end of it. I had witnessed myself last night, um, out, uh, pulling in someone else
Mm.
and I'm gonna say using them for my ego story
Yeah.
rather than allowing that individual to show up and shine and be their own self.
Okay.
So that was my self-reflection was this was really my ego trying to get somewhere and like roping this person in as a tool or as a means to get there rather than honoring how they're showing up in their own. Yeah, it again, that's my harsh interpretation of what I did. So part of the journaling was seeing it through God's eyes and allowing myself the grace of like these are all experiences.
Yeah.
Isn't it great that that other person pattern interrupted? There's one
Yeah.
individual that when I interact with them, if I'm not in alignment, they literally walk away or someone talks to them. It's like my guides are not gonna let my ego obtain that person's attention
That
inauthentically.
that's the part. That's what I wanted to talk about. And
Mhm.
we're gonna have some comments here, you guys. That's what
Yay.
I wanted to talk about, AJ. I'm so glad you brought that up because I
Sweet.
noticed that happening, and that really makes me just like I just get so tickled
Yeah.
because things that are not supposed to happen are not allowed to happen. You guys notice that? Isn't that
Mhm.
something? So that's
If
why
you're
I
in
like how
alignment.
AJ, a lot of times she'll say, well, I wasn't supposed to share this with you ladies because I
Yep.
couldn't get it to work. So apparently it's not meant to happen. And I love that about people who are in alignment. And that's what I want our audience to know.
Yeah.
When you are in alignment,
Mhm.
your guides are going to keep you there because
Mhm.
that's what you have expressed by showing or proving yourself and putting in the work and having that desire to be in alignment. You're going to receive the help that you need, and you won't need to worry about things. It's actually going to go smoothly.
Mhm.
Even sometimes it may even get down to the point where, like we talked about, I think last week, sometimes your body, will kind of like halt and you'll find yourself like under the weather or something, or, even bedridden for a few days. But yeah.
Mhm.
Did you guys have anything you wanted to say before we look at the comments?
This happened actually like yesterday. So I realized last night, again, going to bed, I was like,
Yeah.
oh, my kid had her last like ice skating lesson today and it was on the calendar and four of us forgot.
Oh man, 4?
And yeah, like, the kids and the
All of them.
adults. And I was feeling really bad about it because it was her last lesson and she was about to go on to the next one. But the teacher last week said she needed to practice this one more skill. And so we had taken her to an extra open skate opportunity to practice it like on last week. And I had like postponed obtaining her newer skates so that she could practice it on the skates that are a little small but comfortable. And I was just like, "Oh, we dropped the ball." And I felt it in my stomach, like, felt
Mhm.
guilty, let her
Mhm.
down. And then I was like, "Okay, well, 4 of us forgot. That was not mom
Mhm.
forgetting." And 4 of
Mhm.
us forgot amidst a very active, expansive week of different opportunities, so and the
Mhm.
girls had woken up, like, early that morning, but, like, cranky because they went to bed late the night before. So it was, like, all these little pieces where it was, like, had I remembered, had I been three-dimensional and remembered it as, like, a go, go, go list to complete, we would have overstretched ourselves, I believe. Like, we're all kind of a little I don't wanna say under the weather, but, like, taking it slow today after
Yeah.
the activities that we had.
Mhm.
And,
Mhm.
I just had to let that go of like, well, then we weren't meant to go. If 4 of us forgot it and it was on the calendar, it's not my responsibility as mom to like because that was the story I was telling myself is I can't believe it's on the calendar and I still gotta remind them,
Yeah.
you know? Yeah. Yeah, and I just let it go. It's like, okay, well, again, 4 of us forgot. That was not just me. So,
Yeah. Yeah. And it just worked out. You know what I mean?
It's that
It,
freedom. You
mhm.
get freedom from the 5D or spiritual world, whatever people will call it. You get freedom from that resistance, that guilt, that shame, that you're
Yeah.
like, it's an understanding that you wouldn't have otherwise if you kept ruminating, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're smiling. I see you, AJ. You're smiling.
I think it feels good to just know that oh my God, I just got a breeze. It feels good to know that you have backing and you have help and they're looking out for you and everybody's welfare in the home,
Okay.
all
Yeah.
of you.
Yeah.
So let's look at this
Mm.
question or this comment.
I
It
want to
was
see what
really
they say in the
good.
chat.
Yeah. Okay. So Tony says, oh, I love this. I had an out of body experience and I was an alien looking at my own body. But I then learned that I was an angel or that I was Angel Gabriel. It's hard to explain. He
Oh,
had a big,
wow.
ooh, Tony.
Angel.
So you ladies, what do you have to say? What do you guys have to say about
Oh,
I'm just gonna
that's
very quickly say that hard to explain is like par for the course.
that? Yeah.
Like
beautiful.
dreamlike.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's beyond words.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. It
Hmm.
really
How did
is
it feel?
beyond
I
words.
wanna know how it felt for
I
him.
want to know how it felt too.
Yeah.
Because
Tony, so how does that feel for you?
that's how
Go
we
ahead.
guide ourselves and with other people, and forget stranger danger teaching to the kids. It's like, how does that person make you feel? How did you
Mm.
feel? It's all
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Oh, that sounds beautiful.
mhm.
Huh.
There are so many stories like that people can share if they feel comfortable enough. And I'm really grateful that Tony felt comfortable enough to
Yeah.
share
Thank
this.
you.
Yeah, right. Because people aren't really comfortable. I don't know, like I guess it depends on who you're speaking to.
Hmm.
They may think that you're not all the way there. But again, this is more so about what goes on both sides of the veil, and
Hmm.
not just the dimension that we can hear, see, smell, touch, taste, right? But the other dimensions. Earth Boy says I'm new. What's this? So we're basically talking about a little bit of everything, but what we're doing is we're reaching within to our genius minds, to the genius, realm, if you want to call it. And we're talking about the things that are more than just who we are on the surface, but who we are internally. Like you can call this like an x-ray, except we're not
Mm.
talking about the physical,
That's
right?
interesting that you use that word because
Yeah.
when I did the last healing where I was going to go to 5D and talk to somebody in 3D so that when we meet again, I can have a better alignment with them,
Yeah.
I saw myself totally go into X-ray, and I've never seen that before. So yeah,
wow.
You were like a
confirmation.
light beam.
It went X-ray like blue is the common color that we see a lot, but it was
Oh,
blue and it was my bones and it was sweet. It was like beautiful. And it was after I had that conversation, those two conversations, and one of the people's name was Gabriel. So see, all these confirmations in this conversation for me are like reassuring that what I'm not explaining with my five senses, but I'm explaining from within,
yeah.
as beautiful as any 5 sense story anybody could tell, and as real.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Okay, no, I'm trying to see if I can do a moderator on here, but I think I have to do that from YouTube because she's helping us out.
Oh,
But
cool.
anyway, wow. So yeah, we're waiting to see. Hopefully, Earth Boy, that answered your question, and then Tony. Hopefully, Tony will let us know how that felt for him. But yeah, those out of body experiences, just so that we can kind of make it a little, I guess, understandable for people who don't really know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
It's almost like if you've ever went into surgery before and you had to have anesthesia,
You're talking
and
about drugs.
yeah, it's comparable to drugs, but
And free
without the
and always
right,
available
right?
Yeah.
Don't
You
you
don't have to
and
take
pure
anything. It's inside.
and
Yeah.
knowingly pure because you're not relying on someone else to give the supply.
Yeah, but like just so
Your
that they can
dealer
see what
never
it
runs
feels like.
dry.
If they don't know what this is, maybe they can relate to it by thinking about
Yeah.
it in that way.
Well, actually, okay, so I have a couple analogies for it. Do you
Yeah,
mind?
sure,
So,
please do.
that buzzed feeling with alcohol, where
Yeah.
it's like
Mhm.
that kind of floaty, swirly, or
Mhm.
like when I was in college, I used to think that I was honestly concerned, because I would feel like lightheaded, and I went to the doctor, and of course they thought I was a hypochondriac because I'm very sensitive to like my body symptoms, and then none of it reaches like clinical level of like problem.
Yeah.
So they're like, "You're fine." I'm like, "No, no, no, but things are different."
Mhm.
So I would be driving and it would be in the spring, so I thought maybe it was allergies, and I would have this really floating kind of I think I even would leave and come back, like, it would be, like, a very drastic experience, and I could never medically, like, explain it, and
Wow.
then it would even happen it was weird because there would be times in my life where I was going to the pool regularly and pushing myself to exercise and, like
Yeah.
and and expand in that way, and when I had really, really, really great like, if there was a day where I had a fantastic swim, and it would be in the morning, and then I would go about my day, and I felt lightheaded the rest of the day, and I
Mhm.
talked to them about my
Mm.
nutrition, I talked to them about my blood pressure, I had gestational diabetes, so I was mindful of,
Mm.
like, a diabetic diet. I would
Mhm.
have the diabetic diet, I was, like, pushing protein, I I was absolutely, like, hydrated,
Mhm.
um, and they said, "Well, maybe the blood pressure is a little bit low, maybe, monitor it here or there." And come to find out as we lean into these experiences that it's the connectedness and I was just so high floating and I needed to ground. And then I'll even push it further that I talk about one of my kids having like a hummingbird heartbeat and even having like the diet of a bird. We'd say you have a diet of a bird because she doesn't eat very much.
Yeah.
And so it's like stepping out of that, parent concern of, like, you need to slow your heart rate down for sleep, you're gonna be stressed and anxious, and this is a problem. You need to eat more because your body needs more fuel. It's like, what if she's just operating at a 5D level where her efficiency is so freaking high that she only needs a little bit of intake, and
Mhm.
the heart rate gets going when we're manifesting,
Mhm.
and she's just in alignment. So this idea of blood pressure, I play around with all these ideas, like
Right.
redefining what the blood pressure means. Like maybe it means something different. Maybe it's a
Mhm.
barometer of how much you're like pumping like your mana up to your higher self to create
Mm.
that world for you. Like,
Yeah.
so
Mhm.
all of those like body symptoms that I used to think were like clinical problems for me, I'm not a
Mhm.
doctor, but for
Yeah.
me in my journey, I have come to recognize those as meaning something in the 5D.
Mhm. Me
Mhm.
too, AJ.
Me
Yeah.
too. Me three.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I don't look at it the same anymore now. My physical body,
Mm-mm.
it's all together with dealing with the 5D. I mean, it's just who we are. And to bring up Jeffrey Allen again, he says that it's not our does he say soul or spirit? We think that our spirit is in us, but our spirit is outside of us and we're inside of our spirit. It's almost like look at Cave,
Mhm.
look.
Okay.
Then when you turn the rainbow is very
Yeah,
prominent.
and it's like,
Oh, okay. I'm turning to paint, so maybe
Yeah,
I'll
yeah,
you
see.
do.
no, you're
That's the
doing
thing is
good.
that you do what you're supposed to be doing, and then that's
Yeah,
what shines for us.
yeah. And so it's like we're inside of a bubble, our
Mm.
spirit. And that's
Mm.
aura included. It's
Okay.
all inside of that. And then when I look at it like that, my whole being just shifts.
Mhm.
And I no longer feel it's like I feel floaty and light and I recognize who and what I really am. And it brings things into perspective. And if I, may have been feeling, I don't know, some aches or pains before then, as soon as I turn my attention to the fact that my body is in my, is inside of my spirit, then it just makes everything align
Mm.
the way it should. And I just find
So
it so funny that Kay's the light is doing all that right now while we're talking about it, because to me, I feel like it's offering a visual of what I mean.
so protective, like that.
Mhm.
To be inside of, like, you guys know how I call you guys, "Hey, guys."
I know, me too.
How
I do that too. Don't
how
say
the
that.
how the protection of, feeling like a baby in your mother's arms, or I like to go, like, I always say, "Okay, whether Jesus was real or not, I think he'd be a cool guy. I would love for him to hold me like a baby." And then I
I
always feel
know.
protected. Like, that spirit visual of being inside of your spirit is just like,
Mhm.
That
lovely.
delights me how you said that. Whether or
Yeah.
not he's real, I think he'd be a cool guy.
Yeah.
That's like a K-ism. I love it. We're gonna get famous enough that people are gonna like not famous, you know what I mean, but like
Yeah.
other people are going to appreciate the K-isms the way that I appreciate the
Yeah.
K-isms, and I can release the need for me to edit them all together because someone else will do that for us.
Yeah. I love
I know.
it.
I know.
Like, hey, that's the beauty of
Yeah.
being who we
In
are.
the present
Yes.
of spirit, or being within spirit. So we're not the mind, we're not the body, we're not the spirit, we are of the spirit. That makes so much sense. It's
Hmm.
like Sunday school with you, July. I know I ask you tons of questions like, so where was Jesus?
Right.
And you're like, well, he was with his family. I'm like, are you sure? You They write songs about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So to bring
That's
up for some of our audience members, like
Yeah.
I did not grow up in a religious household. I had parents that grew up in religious households, and so we actively did not. So
Mhm.
I did not take
So
on
lucky.
I did not we're all lucky, we all have the experiences.
Mhm.
I did not take on Jesus as a real entity until we started doing this work.
Oh,
And then
really?
he started showing up. I had, a
Oh,
friend, and she said he showed up and, like, deeply healed, like, womb, like, uterine trauma in that area of my body, and then it, like just through things like that, it started creating a personal connection, so I feel very fortunate to have had the pendulum swing from, like, one direction of, like, "This really isn't my jam, these people are gonna use this word, I'm not gonna use that word,"
yeah.
into this, like, "Oh, yeah, all this all of it is real."
I think I do remember the difference, like before and after you saying, or you even feeling uncomfortable with the use of that
Mm.
word. I remember
That
that.
word God, I
Oh
wouldn't use
my
the
God,
word
yes,
God, I would say source.
yeah, I do remember that. And
Mhm.
it's a consciousness. It's a consciousness, it's a frequency. And
Mhm.
so once you start to like be affected by that frequency, then you start to have experiences like Tony just described, that
Mhm.
where you, oh wow, this is all coming together. Okay, we talked about that with Paul or Saul, how he had that vision where Jesus approached him and
Mhm.
told him to stop persecuting my disciples. Oh, look at that.
Oh, yeah. Mhm.
See?
Said, "Stop killing my people."
And it was
Stop
all purple
killing.
too.
Yeah.
I didn't know he was a killer. Like, the
Yeah,
Bible
Paul, yep.
totally opened up to, like, Game of Thrones for me on
Yeah.
Thursday night, or was it Friday night? Friday night.
Yeah. I think
Yeah,
it
I'm like,
was
"Oh my Game of
Thursday
Thrones."
night.
And I
Yeah,
haven't seen that. I just know there's a lot of violence and a
yeah,
lot of chest shots, but
yeah. I haven't seen it either. But yeah, so once you start to reach that frequency, you start to have more experiences
mhm.
from the actual, if you want to call it, the spirit that was once an avatar on earth,
Mm.
maybe. But it's all a part of that consciousness. And there are so many people like who, I don't know, Mother Teresa, Gandhi, different people, Buddha, who achieved that that level of consciousness. And so many of us, on here on earth today, when we're doing the things that we're doing, like here at Genius Induction, we get a chance to tap into that.
Mm-hmm.
And then you start to have things happen like AJ just described. And I know there are so many stories. I have a couple of stories. I know Kay probably has a couple of stories.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're having all this confirmation just here on camera alone.
Mm-hmm.
AJ, you remember? Oh no, that's right. That was my Geo one. But like
That's a class that we all took.
yeah, I had an experience there. Should I share that experience, you guys?
That's up to you.
That's
Okay.
up to you.
Yeah, okay. I will.
Mm-hmm.
There was, oh gosh, I don't want to make it long. I'll try to shorten it, but there's so many details to that story. Um, I have to say that I had a recurring dream all the time when I was a kid that there were two angels, one on my left and one on my right.
Mm-hmm.
And like the reason I'm bringing that up is because I want people to know that this is not something that I'm making up. And that was as a child, and it lasted for years. So when I went to this class that we all took at different times, we weren't there at the same time for this class. There was a day where we were to take a break and kind of allow things to integrate the activations and the information that we had received and all of that, right? So during my integration, something made me go out to the field out there, which, this is all like sacred land with vortexes and all that. And here I am, like really early in the morning before anybody is awake. And I'm like, why am I feeling called to this field? So I go down into the field, and instead of going to the labyrinth where I thought I was going to go, which, is this area where you can go and meditate, I received guidance to hang a right. And when I hung a right, I came up to like this bench and like this little, there was like a, I don't know, I don't know if you call it like a platform or something, with bricks. And I knelt. I got down on my knees and I
Mm-hmm.
prostrated myself, and I felt God's presence.
Mm-hmm.
And I just started crying profusely. And I was begging for forgiveness. And I'm like, and if there's anything my ancestors may have done, I'm begging for forgiveness for my ancestors and myself and everybody. And then I heard, it's okay. It's okay. And, to just continue doing the work that you're doing, and all is good. All is good. So the next day when we, are talking and introducing ourselves and telling our stories in class, I told my story to the instructor, which was, I'll say his name, Oliver. Oliver said, where were you? And I'm like, yeah, I took a right. I was going to the labyrinth, but I didn't go to the labyrinth, so I hung a right. And mind you, before all this, I had told him how I used to be one of Jehovah's Witnesses, where I grew up thinking, or I was taught that there's Almighty God and then there's his son Jesus, and that Jesus, his pre-human existence in heaven and his post-human existence is Michael the archangel. And so I told him, this is always how I saw Jesus my entire life. That's always how I saw him. So I'm telling him this story, and he says, July, do you know what was in that spot that you were at, and why there was that little, arrangement of bricks? And I'm like, well, what was it? He was like, we just had a statue removed of Michael the archangel. That's what was there. It was only days ago.
Wow.
We just had it removed. And he said, and then he looked at his clock or his watch, and he said, and it is now 2:22.
Wow.
So anyway, like that necklace that I wear with the with the dancing diamond. That necklace that I wear, my mom gave me that necklace. She bought me that necklace. And I would always, every time I'm at the Heartland, I would take that necklace and put it on that rock over there and just let it hang and infuse it with the memory and the spirit and the frequency.
Wow.
I
That's
love that.
beautiful.
I'm gonna take a moment. I had tears.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
When
Yeah.
you say the infusing, I think that pinged me in my mind, because that's something that we do, that we have been trained to do, but other people might not be aware. So there's a couple aspects to it where
Sorry. I'm not sorry, but I am happy. Sorry. Thank you.
that when we have okay, I'm gonna tell a story on how I used to think about this and how I think about it now.
Okay.
Cool.
So when I was a kid, there would be a good event like a birthday party or Christmas or something wonderful. And then life normalizes not in that excitement. And so when people talk about having vision boards and having pictures up on the walls and reminding you of the good times, I didn't like doing that. I mean, don't get me wrong, I had pictures everywhere on my wall, but the pictures were from day-to-day moments where looking back now in this moment, I recognize those day-to-day moments were capturing the essences of the people, untethered to a specific structured event.
Okay.
But I did not like making vision boards of Christmas, holidays, things like that, because to me it reflected the absence and the impermanence of those moments. Like, why am I going to highlight this particular event that only lasted a day, and now I have to reflect on the fact that that magic isn't here currently because it was only a day? And I feel like that's where I would get stuck in my head falling asleep, of like yearning for that moment and sad that that moment was gone and that I had it in my grasp and then it fell through, right? Really emphasizing what I would call like the bleakness of the day to day or the blandness of the day to day. And now, as July is mentioning with the infusing, we know that those moments are on a continuum. They are an infinite aspect for us, and that they drip down in these events or in these day-to-day moments. But the source of where that comes from is always available. And so what we do is, like July said, she infused the memory of that event into something like a talisman that she could carry with her every day. We can do that by asking, with gratitude, and our guides know how to do it. We don't even have to have the step by step. We just ask, the energy that I felt, the joy that I felt. It's like a tag or a flag, right? The joy that I felt in that event, I welcome more of that joy into my life, without it saying, I want more of that event. I want more of that person. If that if that feeling came from interacting with an individual, here we are in the relationships. It's not about, I need to grasp onto that individual because they made me feel that way. It's stepping back in the recognition of, I was able to get there before, I'm able to get there again, and I surrender to my guides how it's going to show up. All I ask is for more of it. And so now when I lean into those memories, it doesn't have the sadness of the fact that it was fleeting. It has it still sometimes does, because I'm still we're all growing. It's the awakening of identifying that right there. I want more of that.
That's the drug of spirituality.
Yeah.
More.
Yeah.
Hashtag more. Right? Hashtag more.
Absolutely.
Hashtag surrender. Hashtag high.
Hi, HI and HIGH.
Yeah. But like, it's like what July's talking about, surrendering to the moment and then being told a confirmation, like, okay, and it's 222, and that was Michael, and here from her guides, put this necklace there, and anytime you want to feel that moment, bring it back. Hashtag bring it back. But it's that present moment of being in flow and then being able to just go back, but not to the past, just to that essence, that feeling.
Bringing it down into your
Right.
Your spirit, right? Your
Right.
inside your proximity.
Like you, yeah. And you're glowing, AJ.
I have to go to the bathroom again.
You're almost in flow. Go ahead.
Almost in flow. If I allow any more flow, I'm gonna have a mess.
Oh my gosh.
And you've been at it 1 hour, right? At the
yeah.
Okay. We'll hold off.
Okay. This is because I drink a bunch of celery juice like 5 minutes before our call.
Yeah.
I had
That's a
intended
good
to wake
thing.
up earlier, but that's not what I was guided to do. So I messaged these ladies and I said, apparently I'm going to be late. That was my surrender because I was so stressed. You know, it was like, you know, and my mind was telling me, oh no, I'm going to be late. And I was just like, apparently I'm being guided to be late.
Apparently.
You do what you have to do.
I'll be back.
Okay.
The flow.
Oh man.
I love that. That's beautiful. Wow.
I'm just playing with my crystal. Like, I love the fact that my heart chakra is so full right now. So I use the crystal to kind of cover the area a little bit and absorb some of the fullness because I feel so much exuberance from the stories. And it's sometimes it's a little overwhelming when I get that excited, you know?
Yeah. Like when you're a little kid again, right? Like you're like AJ talked about where you want those moments of celebration to come back over and over and over.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
Celebrating inside, but I can't contain it on the outside. Yeah, and then your mom would say, settle down.
Yeah.
Settle down.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the fun part about being an adult and feeling that way is that you can be like in your own head, do I need to settle down?
Right.
No. Not right now.
Right.
No, I got this. This is good.
You get to do what you want.
Right. Yeah. All within reason, right?
Yeah, of course.
Hey, you guys were talking about body messages and how you feel things in your body, and it's like an analogy would be like we are electrical beings, right? And we're just this conduit, this wire, and sometimes resistance is put in the path, like maybe a cramp or maybe a say even something. Oh, my back's getting warm. A broken. Okay, so my back was. That's funny. It isn't anymore. But my back was a little bit like kinked yesterday, and I was like, something was about it. And then we were on that text thread yesterday, and we were, in the middle of a conversation, and then my back went pop, which is unusual for me to just be sitting there and have it go pop. And then I didn't have that feeling anymore, right? So it's like being within the spirit, being in flow, sometimes releases that kind of resistance. When we're electrical, it makes it, because electricity just wants to run fast and fluid and, speed of light or even faster. But resistance puts itself in the way. And then it's funny because remember that lady I sent you on IG activations with JJ?
Yes.
Her message this week was she got a message to tell followers and anyone who else would listen is that resistance, don't talk about your body as experiencing resistance. Lean into it and feel into it and find out what the message is instead of calling it resistance. Just call it, oh, I'm getting a message, oh, serious cramp in my right leg. What is that telling me? Lean in, listen, go within. And you might hear, lay off the dairy, like I heard this week. Like,
I love that you brought that up because people, that's what I try to help them to appreciate is that if they just kind of like, I call it letting go, like David Hawkins say all the time, just let go. If you let go and allow the feeling, you'll be surprised what starts to, I guess I can call it downloads for them. You'll start to receive downloads. You'll receive information, you'll receive messages, and it's your personal message. It's not
Mhm.
for anybody else. And it doesn't mean that, this is law for everybody, but this is definitely something for you, especially in this moment, that's going
Mhm.
to possibly, it can reroute things. It can, but in a good way,
Mhm.
right?
In the way that you're intended to be rerouted. Yeah.
hmm
Yep.
And people
Like
are
when
always looking for answers, but they are their own Bible. They'll receive that.
right. And we've been taught from a very young age, from even preschool, that we must receive information in order to have information. And we
Mhm.
must read a book in order to
Yeah.
receive that knowledge. And what when we're in within the spirit, or we're within the energy field, then that energy field is also within us, and we can go within, and that's in those moments where you can say, that doesn't resonate the
Yeah.
same with me as it does with you, but here,
Yeah.
let me share. And then we're really just sharing to truth, not
Yeah.
you're right, I'm wrong, I'm right, you're wrong.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I love that you said that part about the book.
Yeah.
Books, this is how I look at books. Books are written by other people,
Mm-hmm.
and they are their
Mm-hmm.
interpretations of things in the world, or even just their perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Some of it may resonate with a person, and
Mm-hmm.
some of it may not resonate with a person. But I
Mm-hmm.
always say, "Oh, AJ's back. I'm sorry, AJ."
Okay.
Okay, there
So
she
AJ
is.
was just in flow.
Yeah. But I was gonna say, like, take what resonates. Take what resonates. But here's the thing about books: you are a book, and the
Hmm.
words in your book is your DNA.
Oh,
And if you do what Kay just said, you will have those words revealed to you. And you might even write
yeah.
under inspiration and put your own book out, which is like, I call it, to me, I'm just starting to look at it like this is your Bible. That's your Bible. And your Bible may be helpful for someone else who
Mm-hmm.
also has similar things, you know? Yeah.
Yep.
So what were we even talking about, Kay?
Flow and going within, and
Yeah.
being within the spirit and receiving your own answers. You're like you said, the spirit, we're in within the spirit, and I
Mhm.
think I said in the spirit, in the genius field, go within and find your own genius.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because you were talking about kids and how
Oh,
we're
settle
all
down.
taught to receive books.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And you're taught from a very young age to receive that information rather than going within and bringing it out as your truth or what you're hearing in the moment. And I love how AJ shares that intuitively it can change, right?
Mhm.
Intuitively
So
you can feel led, and then you can change it to feel led to do something different. And that's
Yeah.
okay.
Right.
since we have some people on live, I'm gonna pose it to you guys, to not these ladies, but you all
Yeah.
watching.
Yeah.
If you want us to right now lead you very quickly to a place where you can get to your genius field, if at least one person comments yes, we'll do it. But if we don't get any comments for that, we're not going to do it. So we need people to opt in if that's what they want. One of us or all of us will do some kind of I don't know where it'll go, but
Yeah.
Mhm.
that's what our magic comes from, is that we regularly take ourselves there and take each other there and sleep there and
Mhm.
send our me's there. And as Kay said, I think on the other call, one of you ladies said it, that once you're in alignment, when you're not, you're like, how do I get back there? It
Mhm.
becomes more and more. So for me and July, I think it was the last call, we talked about our leg pain. And my
Mhm.
girls love how I say leg. They're like, it's not leg, it's leg. I can't even do how they say it. But they don't They say you say leg like it's Layg.
Oh, yeah.
But you know, I had the knots in my calves, and then this later part of this week, my quads were in a lot of pain. I felt like I was
Mm.
sitting everywhere, but that the pain of the sitting was more prompt, like making itself known. And I became aware that that's, you know, we talked about it before in terms of like our higher selves wanting us to pull us forward faster than we wanted to go, and
Mhm.
us resisting.
Mhm.
That the pain in the quads was, sometimes we have to let go of things that we currently have to move forward.
Mhm.
We have to let go of ideas of relationships that we currently have, or who's
Mhm.
going to be moving forward with us.
Mm.
And I know, and you ladies know, that I've been grasping onto something that needs to be let go. And this is the moment of awareness, right? So I know, and then I make that choice. Am I ready to let it go?
Mhm.
And as July said, our guides nudge us. I've been saying, no, I'm not ready to let it go. And they're like, okay, we're going to show you physically what you're doing to yourself,
Yeah.
because it's a free will. This is the consequences of your decision.
Mhm.
And then I get to continue to decide, do I want to continue to feel that pain? Do I want to continue to feel this throat pain of
Mhm.
you know, for me, the throat pain is not speaking truth, not listening to truth. And last night I'm like, is it because I'm attaching to this individual and this individual needs to speak their truth? And I realized last night it's because you're not listening to your own truth.
Mhm.
Isn't that a trip? That it was
Mhm.
my throat. My truth is trying to tell itself to me.
Mhm.
And I was resisting it by saying, no, I want to hold on to this idea of what I have currently in my life. I don't want to step forward and lose that.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And I've just caused my being all of this pain and discomfort.
Yeah.
And then
You
loving
did that all by yourself.
I am responsible for everything I feel, good and and then deciding, okay, now that I have this awareness, how can I make that decision not from a place of, oh shit, I better catch up, because that's not going to give me anything good, because that's not authentically made either.
Yeah.
So it's like the balance of granting myself the grace of, yeah, I know what the goal is. I know what the target is. I'm not there yet, and that's okay.
Mhm.
When I get there, it'll be because I'm confidently stepping forward with this choice, not because I'm afraid of ramifications.
Right.
Mhm. Yeah,
I can relate to that.
I can too.
Mhm.
Yeah.
There's been
Like
a lot
catching
of
up, like doggy paddle, and I was thinking
Mhm.
so much resistance when you're that way, when you just kind of coast and you'll get back
Mhm.
in flow. Just listen,
Mhm.
get back in flow. No catch up.
Or mustard.
Mhm. Mhm.
I
Just
went to
being
I went to a pun competition last night.
fun.
That was part of. They were like, if you groan, that's part of it. And it was the most awkward experience I put myself through, being in that audience for an hour.
What
My
was
friend and I
it?
wanted, huh?
What was it?
So first they had people who had signed up, um, each step up and give a 2-minute like script of as many puns as possible that like
Okay.
on the topic that they
Yeah.
chose. But it had to be like a story.
Okay.
And then after that, I'm gonna end up telling you ladies, I I
Just
gotta
feel into it. Just feel into it. You don't
Mhm.
have to if you don't want
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
want to. I also, the block was, I want to honor who I'm talking about,
to. Okay.
Mhm.
because I know this was all for me.
Mhm.
Oh, I
Hmm.
have to. I feel like my eyes are flickering. Okay, what's the best way that I can tell this where I'm honoring the highest good? And the aspects come through, allow the words to come through exactly as needed for all the higher selves on this call, watching this call, and those who will watch the call in the future. So they did their 2 minutes,
Mhm.
and then they started the next round where they were given a topic and they needed to have 2 minutes to on the spot write a story. And this was okay, at this point, this is at an improv theater that I love, and I go there often. And so the host asked in the audience, while they're taking those 2 minutes, who knows improv, who wants to come up and play an improv game? And my friend and I are in level 2 class for improv. So we're like, oh yeah, we could do that. If it's improv, we can do that. And we go up. And from this moment, I'm only going to be focusing on what it felt like to me. I really, really, really want to honor the host, who was a beautiful mirror for me to experience something I needed to experience. So I'll walk you through my thought processes and my judgments of her, but I love her, and this is no no judgment on how it transpired. We walked up there thinking it was going to be an improv, and then she said, "Oh, it's a pun game." And that 2 minutes, ladies, I was triggered for 45 minutes after that. I was upset, I was snarky. I was in the audience again, and she, as continuing her hosting duties, would look out to the audience for reactions, and I felt like she would look towards me, and I couldn't make eye contact because I felt violated. And it's because we went up there, and it was this whole, I trusted you. I trusted you, and you pulled the rug out from under me. And you've put my body and my physicality in a position I did not agree to. And that was, I wanted to have a lot of anger at her. I wanted to have a lot of shame at her. I'm driving home like, does this mean I can't be vulnerable? Look what happens when I'm vulnerable. Look what happens when I trust people I don't know. Why did I trust her? I don't know her. All these thoughts that I've healed, I don't want to be in that paranoid, anxious space anymore. I'm past that. And so, but I was shaking. We were both traumatized. We were talking about, now we know, and just that it was on me and I couldn't shake it off. I felt icky. And so I could have left it at that. And that's what a lot of people would have left it as. But I'm driving home. It's like 11:30 midnight at this point. And maybe it's 11. And then the coaching kicks in because the cortisol response got low enough. Like, okay, why am I mad at this woman? Well, because she did this to me. But did she? No, I went up there. When she said, "Do you know puns?" We both said, "We don't know puns. We can't think of them on the spot." And so she explained the game, and then she illustrated the game. And then she illustrated the game again. I said, "It's not that we don't understand. It's that the puns aren't coming." And I felt like I was pleading. And I that's not how I presented, but my energy was pleading of like, "Please don't make us do this." And I felt like the more that I leaned into that, the more that it happened. And that was part of the awareness, is that I gave her my power, because I had other choices. I could have said no. I could have said that's it. I could have sat back down. I suggested an improv game that my friend and I could have played as a means of trying to get her to transition. But the suggestion was a form of pleading. It was here's an offering, you make the choice, rather than me saying, I'm making this choice. And it triggered me. I felt icky and I felt gross or dirty. I felt dirty and icky. And when I asked myself why, that's the coaching training that we have. It reminded me of another instance where I felt like my body preferences in a photography setting, I don't want to trigger anybody, hadn't been honored. When I was pregnant with my second, we went to get photographs taken. And there was a popular photo pose at the time that I hated. I was like, I don't want to do that. Ugh. And it was the husband bending down and kissing mom's belly with the older child on dad's shoulders kissing mom. And people can think that's beautiful all they want. I did not want to subject my experience to that.
Mhm.
And I told my husband that. And I thought I told the photographer that. And what happened is when you've got a photographer and you're happy and you're in the flow and you're taking direction, I ended up in that pose. We ended up in that pose. And driving home, it was like, wait
Mm.
a minute. Wait, that thing happened that we didn't want to happen. How did that happen? How could she? How could she put us in that position? And again, they were prime examples of what it's like, how easy it is to give away power to someone who we assign with more power, more authority, a microphone, a camera. And so I kind of was script relaying that to you ladies because I relayed that to our class as well. My friend and I were chatting in the class, kind of laughing, but saying all the emotions of I feel violated and traumatized and stuff like that. And then I got home and I gave a summary because I didn't want to leave my classmates hanging. I wanted to give them the context of how to think about it and how I moved through it.
Mm.
And what I didn't tell them, but what's important for us is that I'm so grateful of that reminder as we are stepping into these positions of authority, of how easy it is to lead someone somewhere where they shouldn't be going.
Mhm. Or some place that they don't want
Yeah.
to go, and we shouldn't pry, we shouldn't push
We
or
shouldn't say you
pry
guys
it
need to
away.
meditate. I mean, the fact that we asked and like no one has said anything. Okay. Yeah,
Mhm.
we're not going to then introduce that to the people in this audience because they're not asking for it.
Mhm.
And I closed my eyes because I know that my ego responds to your ladies' reactions when I'm in the flow, and I needed to just be completely present.
Yeah.
So when you asked about that meditation, I asked myself, should I be one of the voices? And my answer was no. So I knew I would be silent during that meditation, which is unusual. But I was going to honor it because I went within. And you sharing what you just shared, AJ, was so beautiful because
Mhm.
so often we can get stuck in that mode of how did that happen?
Mhm.
How did I let them do that to me? How did they do that to me? You know, that what we call that trigger of the victim and the oppressor, and moving through that stages. You talked about that 3 stages of the levels of seeing it, understanding the feeling of it, looking at the feeling of it as a mirror, and then kind of just looking at it as the beauty of it is. And then you just ended it with total understanding and gratefulness. Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome. And then I want to tell you the card that I pulled today.
Mhm.
I pulled 2 cards this morning.
I love these cards.
They're so beautiful. So because I was telling the classmates, there's a reason that I show up with open love. There's a reason that I'm confident. And it's because we do this work. And so it ties back to what July said of what's in the 3D versus what's in the 5D, what's on the outside versus what's on the inside.
Mhm.
It's effortless for us now,
Mhm.
but was it effortless for you a year ago? Because it was not for me.
Not at all.
No, I was still asking. So, like, love, you hold space for love? And like you say love's here with us?
So this is this deck, which I love because
Mhm.
all of the photos, and he has put light codes in every photo that's designed.
Yay.
I wish they weren't glossy, so it was easier to take pictures of them for you ladies.
Oh,
You know, the
beautiful.
reflection of the camera.
Mhm.
Lightning.
Mhm.
I want to say F yeah. Oh my
Mhm.
gosh.
Yeah. Okay, you ready to hear the description?
Yeah.
Yes.
What were the 3 words on the bottom?
Sky, lightning, and sun.
Sun.
Mm.
I
Okay.
love that picture.
So it's a paragraph, so prepare yourselves.
Okay.
Okay. When something makes you uncomfortable, it doesn't mean that there is anything wrong or bad or offensive about that thing. All it means is that you need to expand your comfort zone. This is how we self-actualize. We keep choosing to expand our comfort zones to be able to hold more and more diversity, true diversity, diversity of people, ideas, perspective, and expression. Your willingness to be open to different worldviews and to experience things that you never, ever in a million years thought you would experience allows your incarnation to be artful and creative and unique. When we are open and we are able to hold other beings and circumstances and experiences in unconditional acceptance, we inspire that same creativity, that same courage, and that same openness in others by being a living example of artful and authentic lives.
Beautiful.
Mm.
Self-actualization, that's a psychology term right there. And it's what we talked about this whole time is the levels of spirituality to me, which you explained with your experience. Like that lightning bolt hit you, the by me, like I did that to myself. And the through me, like I'm just going to let the spirit flow through me and understand what this is about. And then the as me, where you see the people, you see those people as you, and you're just expanded. Like, and self actualization is where you're like improving the world around you, not going within and being like, fuck this.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that card. That card is like, those cards just like, they're like candy.
They are.
They're so delightful. I stare at them like I'll pull it and then I'll look at the card until it feels right to put it down and sometimes the ego's like, ooh, it's like a present, like, ooh, what's it say? It's like, slow down, just be present with the picture.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So how did you feel? I mean, like, did you feel so much better after everything last night? Or, I mean, I know retelling the story is what brought up the emotion, but let's just say if it happened again.
Mm.
Now, what if the same thing was to turn around and happen again today? Then how would it play out? Would it be, oh yeah, I fixed it. I'm gonna go I'm gonna go up here with her because I'm a little traumatized right now.
Oh, okay.
I know you may have seen it on my face,
I
but
didn't.
like as an empath, I couldn't help. And
Oh.
I don't have a problem with it. I'm not upset, but I
But you're
am I
being
absorbed the trauma but I love that. I love it because now I'm able to tell you that I felt it and then I have this thing where I just go in protection mode. You'll see when you play it back.
Mama bear came out.
Yes, when you play it back, I'm like, oh, my spirit, man. And we got to talk about that later because I noticed that that's another thing that happens with the 5D is that things come from that. But anyway, the card made me think about if you don't want to expand your comfort zone and you want to preserve AJ's creativity.
I love that you bring that up because there's an aspect I forgot to share, which is that the whole reflection was in the context of this is really like quote unquote no big deal, right? Like in terms of trauma levels and trauma scale, this is a 2-minute minuscule, but the body doesn't know that, and the body is creating this stress response. So,
but the 5D knows it. Your higher self.
But me, if I as a human got home 2 years ago, I would have been like, okay, time for bed, right? That's all I would have known to do. I got home last night. It's like, okay, my body just went through something. Time for a salt bath. Time to take care of it. You know, if we didn't have this call, it would have been time to sleep in. And I am still taking care of it in other ways. I will nap later today. But yeah, and going slow today and being mindful that there's a recovery time, that this part of my being is protecting me and taking care of me and doing exactly what it knows how to do. And then so this part of me, the heart, has to take care of this part of me, the body, and nurture it and allow it to recover. So if it happened again today, I probably would still be triggered because I'm not at baseline yet. You know, I'm still on the upswing.
I had the same thing happen to me 2 days ago, and my body reacted, and it almost felt like a little, I don't even know how to describe it other than the fact that I had like an immediate shock to my system that felt like a flash, and I felt like I was electrocuted,
Mm.
all in the solar plexus and heart chakra and even the throat chakra, all at the same time. It was very forceful.
Mm.
It was because I had to speak my truth and admit something.
Mhm.
Look at you laughing at yourself.
I know. Because this person called me a narcissist, and I was like, I am.
And you should be too.
That's what it was. Because, like, sometimes I just want to debunk that word.
Mhm.
For years, I've been telling people everybody is a narcissist. Everybody has a little
Mm.
bit of that quality in them. But then when you are someone who is a creator, you should be creating the way you want. And I don't get me wrong, I love that card. But sometimes there are times where you don't necessarily want to allow other things to penetrate your your zone,
Mhm.
because we have this whole thing about comfort zones and expanding them so that you can be something greater, which is fine. But when you're already on a path that is yours,
Mhm.
you are now creating your zone. And so sometimes you don't want things to interfere with that and
Mm.
other
Mhm.
energies. Do you know what I mean?
Well,
Mhm.
I
And
hear,
stay unadulterated.
I hear the distinction. So what I hear in the difference between the card and what you're saying
Yeah.
is the card is saying this thing happened, here's how you could look at it.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And what I'm hearing you say is that doesn't mean we want to seek those opportunities out all the time.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Does that seem like a fair kind of characterization of what you're saying?
Yeah, and
Or
also,
even saying yes, like we can say no.
right.
Mhm.
We can say, "No,
That's it.
no, I don't wanna opt into that."
That's
Whereas I feel like this card is comforting me for something that already happened.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
I love that you said that, because I wanted to, and we don't have to talk about it right now or anything, but
My eye is twitching.
yeah, like
And it's
I,
because of the left eye.
she said, absolutely. I too believe that at minimal, everyone has a hint of narcissism in them. Yeah, like,
Mhm.
and this was a situation where, there goes my throat. This was a situation where a man that I love was trying to tell me that, or get me to admit something about myself. I mean, to a degree, yeah, it's true, but also he was overlooking his part that he played that caused me to display a certain quality. In other words, it was provoked.
Mhm.
And just, I'll be direct about it. It's basically what I had been talking to you ladies about before, about a woman who should be seen and not heard. And so, um, my
Mm.
trigger with men is if you don't allow me to express myself and you feel that I should not be talking, I should not be speaking. And especially if it's in a situation where tensions have arose.
Mhm.
If tensions have risen, if tension has risen, you we still need to be artful in our conversation.
Mhm.
We still need to be artists. We still need to be creative. And there's no, just because there's tension, it's not
Mhm.
necessary to be disrespectful in any way,
Mhm.
including raising your voice or cutting me off. That's my trigger.
Man, those are my 2 too. And I'll
Yeah.
say, when you
Go
raise
ahead.
your voice, it brings me back to what my dad used to do to me, and it
Hmm.
shuts me down.
Hmm.
And when you cut me off, it makes me feel not heard. And when I get calmer and lower my voice more, it raises, it's kind of like that balance. Like there's 100% and I might be 25% of the noise, then the other raises to 75%. And then that's when I know, oh, we
They
found
better watch
something.
out for that 5D at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
That's the part.
Yeah.
so, and then it's funny, the first part, I guess, is gone. You know, having been the parent who raised her voice and cut off, I would also just like, we know that those things trigger us, but we also know that those people are doing the best that they can,
Yeah.
and that they themselves are triggered by the point that they're already there. Like I believe, and I think that you ladies believe this too, that no one's gonna choose from a place of love. Like, it's time for me to get angry and cut them off.
Right.
It's time for
Have my
breath
anger
in,
voice.
breath out.
Yeah.
Space. Yeah, it's time for space.
That's why
Yeah.
I ended it with it's never any love lost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or the
No,
like
and
you said, no, you go ahead.
it's a balance.
Mm-hmm.
We always play a part. Even when
Mhm.
someone we think is misbehaving or triggering us, we're playing a part in it too. We have a part in it.
I know I'm not an angel when it comes to that.
What we're saying, July, is it's all your fault.
Look, that's why I was like, yeah, I'm narcissistic. And what are you gonna do about it? No.
Oh, that's the other thing I was gonna say is that it's such a aggressive, and I'm gonna say the word masculine, but meaning masculine energy. Like, we all do this. We all have this
Yeah.
ability to do this.
Yeah.
But it's such a power play move when someone wants an individual, so wants you in this instance, to assert something about yourself. Or like, I know we've talked about how people have called us slippery because we're not pinned downable in the way they want us to be pinned down.
Yeah.
And somehow their comfort is compromised because we are unable to self-identify in the way they want us in their logical mind to identify. You know, you're slippery because you won't admit this judgment about yourself that I've made about you. It's like, why would I? Why would I take that on?
That's the moment where if somebody uses the word tried or slippery, immediately I see resistors and I'm like, oh, inside.
Yeah. I'm like, I got it. Okay, so you think I'm Play-Doh right now, like moldable.
Yeah.
And that I need
Not
to show
Play-Doh,
up.
but Play-Doh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because in that moment they have, we've all talked about, like, there's infinite realities, right?
Yeah.
Like they have a version of me that's showing up in their reality. I have my reality over here that has a version of them that they're probably not happy about in this moment.
Yeah.
And the tensions happen because two people who are not mindful are trying to force each other to agree to each other's realities.
Yeah.
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 Totally.
Trying to merge something that is not mergeable.
And neither one of which are coming from a place of love. And so it's
Yeah.
never even, it's completely unmergeable. Only the loved ones are mergeable when we agree.
Yeah, can you imagine, like, in that moment you say to whatever person you're having that conflict with, stranger or family member, well, wait, let's just stop and let's just breathe for like 20 seconds, up to 20 minutes. Can we just breathe together? You just want to breathe with me? Let's just breathe. Can you imagine if we said that to them? I think
I know that guy would be ready to hang up on me. That was so
but you did it as an invitation, not as breathe.
Yeah, I know, right?
Breathe in, breathe out.
You need to breathe.
They do not like that. That is so funny. He's like, this is the perfect example of what I was talking about as far as what aligns is good. See, realities would align and you know, in a way where everything was perfect, quote unquote. But since they are not, what AJ just described, they can't merge. And so that's where all of the things that we don't like to manifest come from. And it stems from that. And then it snowballs and it grows, and other people are pulled into it until eventually we live in a world like we're in today.
Like some people are in.
You
know what I mean.
We are in a different world.
We inhabit.
Everyone knows that we inherited.
Yeah.
But we inherited this mess from y'all, and we're fixing it.
Look how much we're changing it.
We play our part, yeah.
Yeah.
Nope. My hands are clean.
Me, it's you. It's all you. It's all you.
You play your part, okay?
Right.
Your problem.
Let me tell you what part it is that you play over there.
Okay, from my perspective, what I see is this. You're the problem. Not me.
Well, your perspective is wrong because clearly what I see is truth.
Right? Because I got the truth running through me and you are wrong.
Because you're over there and you got to be over here with me.
Right,
You're
right.
not over here with me.
If only you were standing right here with me seeing what I'm seeing, you would totally get it. Have you ever said that before? Have you looked at yourself in the mirror lately? What if you
I
looked
know
at
I'm
yourself
gonna
in the
catch a lot
mirror
of
when you
flack
talk
for
to
this.
yourself like that?
I'm gonna catch a lot of
Friends
flack
like
for
that?
this, but why are you guys reminding me of Christopher?
Aw, hi
Oh,
Christopher, if you're
oh, I
watching.
love him.
Oh, I love
Of
you.
course we love him. We love to love Christopher, but I also love to bring his name up because he's such a sweetheart and he's such a good sport. And I love that he knows that in the end it's all love and no harm intended.
Started following me on IG last night, and I was like,
Yeah,
"Oh, there's Christopher." Yeah, he found my coach account on IG, Coach K.
yeah.
Yeah, I was
He's
like,
like this
"Yay!"
really lovable person. You love to love him, you know?
Yeah.
So,
Oh, he's the person that taught me how to like. So, you ladies know that I road tripped with him to Colorado twice.
yeah.
Yeah.
And the first time, we shared a hotel room in Durango, which I
Mhm.
felt comfortable doing with a man who's not in my family.
Yeah, he's
And
that
like
he's that sweet.
he taught
Mhm.
me how to like be seen,
Mhm.
love, and be loved by a man who's not in my family.
Mhm.
Like we
cool.
would when we went to GO2, someone took pictures and for a while I was like, I kind of want to see those pictures because I imagine that they would be like really like I have a hippie vibe.
Yeah.
So
Oh, I
when we
love the pictures you guys took
well,
and
but no one shared them because the person
oh,
that I don't know her very well and she took them, but we were
oh,
all outside by the little like on the by the swing.
yeah.
It was GO2, the second class, so it was when Oliver was calling in people by groups to tell them what their gifts were,
Oh,
and
yeah.
everyone else was waiting outside. And
Okay.
someone there had a hand pan. I think it was Elle. Elle brought her hand pan and it had these beautiful sounds. And so she's playing it, and then other people are kind of drumming, and then like some people are dancing. And I'm sitting on the stairs, and Chris is sitting on the stairs behind me. What is a scene that would play out in like a romantic relationship, right? And then he's like
Yeah.
massaging my shoulders for me, and then he's got his
Mhm.
arms when he's done massaging, he's got his arms like wrapped around me. And it was just this like pure place of love.
Mhm.
And and it was like it was just beautiful.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And everybody there was just free flowing and I felt safe and I didn't feel like I was being taken advantage of. I didn't feel
Right.
like I was going to escalate a situation in any way. It was just
Mhm.
I can be here and I'm safe because I trust you.
He
Mhm.
definitely has that spirit. When I first met Chris, it was at our GO1 and he you know what he reminded me of? He was the personification of Christ consciousness.
Mm.
Not to mention that he looks like
Mhm.
and I'm like, wow, this guy is really like
Mhm.
a unique spirit.
Mhm.
And I noticed that there was something about him that was just, you know, up there.
Mhm.
And it's the fact that he's like the epitome of love,
Puppy, you said like puppy
unconditional
love at
love.
one point? Not like puppy love like teens, but like a puppy.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And unconditional love. Like he's just, he really embodies it. And it's without
Mhm.
effort, it's just who he is. Like you can sense it. And that it's
When
the
I
type of feeling that made her comfortable.
when I talked to Christopher a few times, one of them was about when you were the mirror for me, the last rejection.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah, I would
Like
love to hear
couple
that story
rejections
if you're
before
willing
that.
to share it because you keep alluding to it and I don't know what I did.
Did
But you don't have
nothing.
to
You
share
did
it.
nothing except you said we'll work together, but not now. And I think I
It
left a
was
comment. So I was new to the online world, like Facebook, and I normally didn't leave comments. And I left a comment on one of your posts, and you didn't answer it. And it was about working together. And it had to do with I was making the Effie dolls for kids classes that I was teaching online, and you were doing not mom guilt, but had some kind of you had professed that you
The
thought you were going
parenting.
to do a
I
class
love
for
that you're
kids.
like, and this is the phase in our lives where you were mom guilt and I was Effie dolls, and we thought that's what we were doing, and now we're here.
Yes. And
Yeah.
I was like, and so I left that message and you didn't answer, and then you did answer and you shut me down. Well, my old me would say you shut me down. It was, I think you did it in public. I know there's a time when we're going to work together, but it's not now. And I just didn't feel led to answer that in a positive way. So when it's time, we'll know, is what you told me.
Hmm.
And the resistance in me was like, she doesn't like me. Oh, what did I say? Oh, and so I went through I didn't feel comfortable in your presence. And then Christopher and I had a talk at the Heartland, and he wasn't feeling comfortable either. There was something going on, and all of you remember this, right? And
There was something
I
going
said
on.
to Christopher, I almost didn't come to the Heartland because I felt so much resistance. And when I got here, I brought that resistance with me, and it came at me from all directions. And I started to see that what resistance I was bringing from within me, I was also pulling towards me.
Wow.
And he gave me this hug, and he said, I love you. And I said, I love you too. And he goes, it all works out for the best. It all works out for the highest good of all. And isn't that fun? And I was like, yes, it is. And so that was our conversation. But it was funny how Christopher helped me at the end of that visit just kind of realize it's what we bring to us is what we're feeling inside. Yeah.
Wow.
He can be pretty amazing,
That
Yeah,
was
resistance.
July and I are laughing because we know what that trip was.
And I have no idea what that trip on the other side of it was, but I just
There
remember
was-
being like,
For the people watching this, because this doesn't feel like it'll be a clip, this will only be available for the people that rewatch the full stream 2 hours
Yeah.
on July's
gotta
channel.
watch all the way to the end. Yeah.
Right.
And then I
But after the Marvel comments, after the
Yeah.
after the credits have played, we love this individual, and then
Yeah.
sometimes people who embody that space, it's almost like their role in some situations is to be the painful mirror for other people. And so there was lots of like frustration, and like I remember, I'd love to hear July's perspective. I remember being, well, yeah, I mean, I love him and he triggers me a lot, and he knows he
Yeah.
triggers me.
I know, look at that.
Yeah. And then wanting, like, so he allowed me the opportunity to articulate my boundaries to someone that I love, knowing that I didn't, because like I was always good at articulating boundaries in the context of get the F away from me, from that space. And then here it was like, oh, I really care for this soul. How can I say my boundaries without hurting his feelings? But making sure that my needs and my boundaries are still met.
Yeah.
And so it was a lot of opportunities to practice that. And we, like, 3 of us, July and I and someone else, and I might 3 or 4 of us were like talking it out. Like, in this philosophy of unconditional love, what can I say to someone? And then catching ourselves when we would veer too far into how can I make them see? Which is where a lot of people get stuck. I have to dig in until they see. And like, that's not what it is. How can I articulate this from a place of love? And that took practice, because it was like articulated from like an angry place, but the words were there, and it like gets to a place eventually where it's like loving, but it doesn't start there.
I remember sharing with you guys at the Heartland 3 boundaries I set in that moment where you were articulating things through frustration, and I showed up as, here's frustration. You want to see frustration? Here's my frustration. And I shared with you what my boundaries were, like how I set boundaries out of fear.
Oh, wow.
And
I don't even remember.
y'all just sat there at the table. I just came. There were 3 of you sitting at the table.
Because we were in the middle of like dressing him down, and then you showed up. I'm like, what is she doing here?
I didn't even. Okay, so I vaguely remember that, Kay.
I didn't remember
I
it was
sat down
you,
and
but
I go, cool. And then I got up and left.
Yeah.
And we were like, okay, now back to what we were doing.
Yeah, I do remember that. That is so funny. And I remember that it was all because of Christopher.
Yeah. There was a pattern interrupt.
Yeah, he his telepathy his intuition, he knew because he even came up to us and wouldn't leave. You remember that?
So for people who, I mean, I don't like, again, he's not here and we're speaking of him
Yeah, no, it's
lovingly.
nothing.
And
He's
it's,
a beautiful
and what this
soul.
is the multiple layers of like
Yeah.
loving someone and then showing and then honor and then recognizing that part of that person's job in your life is to show you what you don't like about yourself so you can fix it.
Mm-hmm.
And he's not doing it maliciously. Again, he's not sitting there
Mm.
going, how can I push their buttons,
Mhm.
which is what a lot of people think people are doing.
Right.
Oh, my kid pushes my buttons, my kid knows how to push my buttons. No, your kid is trying to get you to laugh and
Yeah.
to like loosen up.
Yeah.
I look at it now as they show up for our perfection.
Mm-hmm.
And they help us to perfect what we need to in ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
show
their
us.
purpose.
Show us, yeah. They're showing us how they're different, how their love
Mhm.
language might be to be seen, and ours might be touch.
Mhm.
And then we're meeting each other on the love level of, okay, so you need to be seen, so I'm just going to pause for a moment.
Mhm.
I might be counting the numbers of words that you're saying because it's a lot of words, but I'm here. Or
Mhm.
you don't like touch, but I love touch, so I'm going to ask for permission. Hey, can I give you a hug? You know, those you're
Mhm.
asking, and I'm using examples from my personal life, but we're meeting each other where we're at in that present moment so that we
Mhm.
can learn how different we are, but how united and alike we are.
Yeah. Because at the end of the day, it's all love. And I do, and I know earlier, AJ, you were saying you were wondering what my perspective was. That's always my perspective, is that the end of the day, it's all about solutions, and that everybody walks away feeling great and accomplished and still intact with each other. Yeah, that's just it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm looking at the clock and I need
Yeah.
food.
I know,
Yeah.
I'm
And
hungry.
we're going on a hike. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Are you? Nice. I hope you're gonna
Yeah.
eat something before to give you a little energy.
Yes. And
Yeah.
we're taking a kitten with us. That
That
little gray
kitten
kitten.
is so cute.
Yeah.
Where did the kitten
It's
come from?
Yeah.
my daughter got it for her birthday present for herself. Her birthday is coming up in a week. So she got a adventure kitty, she calls her.
Oh, that
Oh,
kitten
so
is
the
so
kitty's going on an
cute.
adventure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so the kitty is going to learn how to hike and backpack and camp and all those things. So
That's so
today
Okay.
is
Italy strong
Teamy's
taking it.
first hike. Yeah.
Oh, so sweet.
I love
Yeah.
it. You're gonna have a lot of fun. It's not gonna be too hot there.
No, where we're going is in the forest, so it's where
Ooh,
those garnets are,
yeah.
in the sandstone. So we're going to Garnet Hill is what we call it. But it's a cool hike about 20 miles from here, but it's in the forest. And what's going to be big are the mosquitoes, and they're going to hit us like this and this and this. So
No, they're not.
bunk, 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 bunk. But they're not going to. But last time they did, and so we're putting shields around us where they're not going
Yeah.
to touch us.
Nice.
Well, I'm gonna open myself to receive any garnets that have my name on them from that
I
hike.
know. That's what I just
Sweet.
thought about too. I'm glad you said
Sweet.
it.
They're beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, that's
Okay.
a really good reminder. Nah, yeah. So when you were like, I'm glad you said it. So I went to this conference yesterday, or this workshop, and it happened a couple of times with me, and then I watched it with other people where they were like, "Oh, you said what was on my mind." And because it was late in the day, it was a cue for me like, "Oh, step back into my own space." Because we know that that's a spiritual gift of being able to tap into someone else's energy and then articulating what's on their mind
Yeah.
because we've energetically blended. So
Oh.
to be in that setting with these tools and this knowledge was really cool. Like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I know what that
That's
means."
so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all.
Amazing.
I love that.
Well, oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I love that. Can you share any more about what you went to yesterday, just in a synopsis?
Um,
I know you have to go, but maybe it's another talk.
so it's called NPEIV. It's a think tank that's been around for about 15 years. And National something, and I don't know what the P stands for. National something ending interpartner or interpersonal violence. And so it's a think tank that has people who opt into this organization who they themselves are helping in a wide range of, if you think of interpersonal violence on any way, family level, global level, social level. I'm not going to say the trigger words of all these different kinds of violence. Rehabilitation for the victim and the perpetrator, justice system, legal system, all of them coming together and basically sharing their content expertise and big goal, big goal. So I'm glad I was there. I feel like I contributed a lot. That was some fresh energy I was injecting into the group, and it was cool to pull a card ahead of time that said you are the basically like you are the light, and your shining your light can ignite others. Because previously I would walk into a conference and energy match what's already there, and if I had done that, then the 3 or 4 ideas that I shared that people really loved would not have come out, because instead I held firm on, like, energetically, I have a vision for what this organization could be and could accomplish, and I'm gonna lend that energy to this experience and see a vision different than what it currently is.
That's brilliant. Yeah. I was like that when you told us about that, or was it the other night? You know, with you and your ideas about what you.
Oh, I told you last night.
Yeah, the visions that you have, and I'm like, oh, I love it. I love to see people share with others, especially like organizations or groups or even corporate, right? But like helping them to see that there's no ceiling. Right?
Yeah.
And giving them ideas. And I'm like, go AJ, go. We're gonna be in California.
Yes, I'm so excited for you ladies to come.
Yeah. So okay, I'm getting lightheaded.
Okay.
Time to go.
I love you all. Thank you for those
I love you
who
too,
joined us
ladies.
live, and even if
Thank
you're still
you.
not here, thank you for those watching.
Thank you, you guys.
Thank you for the comments.
And Tony. Thank you guys, Earth Boy. All right. I'll see you ladies later.
Love you.
Right.
Bye.
Love you. Bye.
Bye.